Good luck to them. Many options and opportunities have been presented to our juniors/rising seniors. And finally, thank you to the school committee for your continued support this past year. I hope everybody has a great summer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have a representative from William E. Tolman High School?
Hello, my name is Dylan Brulette and I am a junior at Tolman High School. Over 130 students took advanced placement exams between May 1st and May 12th. Students who scored 3 or higher earned 3 college credits. The spring music concert took place on Thursday evening, May 18th. The concert featured performances by our band and award-winning chorus. Great job to everyone on a hugely successful evening. The junior prom was held on Friday, May 19th at the Radisson Hotel in Warwick. All who attended had a great time. Tolman held its first blood drive in 3 years on Monday, May 22nd. Students donated enough blood to save over 130 lives. What a wonderful display of generosity. On Wednesday, May 24th, Tolman held its annual honors and awards ceremony in the Tolman Auditorium. Congratulations to all the scholarship and award winners. Students were recognized for membership in the Rhode Island and National Honor Societies, as well as those who earned the state seal of biliteracy. Over $40,000 in scholarships were awarded to our deserving seniors. Tolman administered the National Next Generation Science assignment to our junior class from May 18th through May 31st. On Wednesday, May 31st, Tolman and Shea held its second annual sports banquet at the Pawtucket Country Club. Congratulations to all the award winners from both schools. The Tolman Senior Prom was held on Friday, June 2nd at Alpine Country Club. Over 220 students attended the event. A tremendous time was held by everybody. On Thursday, June 8th, Tolman held its 95th graduation ceremony in the historic Tolman Auditorium. Congratulations to all the graduates. We are all so proud of you. Oh, there's more. My bad. Sorry. Very long page. Okay. On Friday, June 9th, Tolman and Shea student athletes were honored at our Spring Key Spirit Award breakfast. Congratulations to all these amazing student athletes. This Thursday, June 15th, Tolman will be conducting our 11th annual Freshman Academy Award ceremony. The event is scheduled for 6 o'clock in the Tolman Auditorium. We will be honoring all the freshmen we have demonstrated great success throughout the year. That's it.
And last but not least, a representative from Jacqueline M. Walsh School of the Performing and Visual Arts.
Hello, my name is Sarah Souza, and I'm a junior visual arts major at the Jacqueline M. Walsh School for the Arts. We've had quite a busy month at JMW. Our senior music majors had their senior recital at the Music Mansion in Providence. Our theater majors showed off their talent at their showcase where they performed Macbeth. Our visual arts seniors wowed us with a gallery. Our dancers and chorus had their own evening event. And our film students presented an incredibly well-attended film festival. Our prom was on Friday, May 19th at Hope Events on Main, and our theme was Greek mythology. Our student-made centerpieces were all incredibly done, and we already are excited to begin brainstorming for next year. On Friday, May 26th, our chorus performed at the Trills and Thrills Festival and received a superior rating. Our honors night was held on May 31st, and we were thrilled to give out $12,000 in scholarships and induct 40 students into the National Honor Society. Our production of Peter Wendy was on June 6th and 7th, and we were excited to welcome Agnes Little, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to watch the production, as well as having our own in-school performance for our community. On June 7th, members of the Newport Jazz Festival Band came to perform, and we also welcomed band and chorus students from Jenks to join us. It was a really fun afternoon of live music. And last but not least, our class of 2023 graduation ceremony was held here at JMW on Friday. We're sad to see the seniors go, but thrilled to celebrate their accomplishments. We begin exams tomorrow, and our final evening event of the year is this Thursday at 6:30, which is the 9th through 11th grade theater showcase. Thank you so much for your time and for all you do, and I hope you all have a great summer. Thank you.
Next, we are going to recognition, and interim superintendent Kim Mercer will be speaking.
At this time, I'm going to ask that Mr. Frank LaLiberty come to the podium. Yeah, I know. Shorter than mine. On May 10th, at its annual awards breakfast, the Rhode Island Interscholastic League honored 21 individuals for exemplary achievements over the past year. One of this year's honorees, who received a Distinguished Service Award, was Frank LaLiberty, Interscholastic League's tennis director and Pawtucket Schools Assistant Athletic Director. We would like to recognize Mr. LaLiberty for his outstanding contributions to the athletic community.
Fine. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate the Tolman Unified Basketball Team for winning the Division I State Championship on Saturday, May 13th at Bishop Hendricken High School. At this time, I'm going to ask that members of the Unified Team come forward. Yeah, come on down. Will you read off the names in a few minutes? I heard this was a very exciting game with less than a minute left going into overtime. All right, Hunter Smith scored the winning basket, making the final score 32-31 over Cranston West High School. Thank you to the coaches, the players, and most importantly, the volunteers for a tremendous season.
Yeah, where do you want? Okay, we're gonna call up each of the players and the coaches, and coaches first. Okay, and I just want to say though, we're building a unified basketball dynasty. That's 2 championships in a row at Tolman, so we're very excited about that. And we've got 2 great coaches over there, Mr. Noel, Mr. Willett, with a lot of other help from the special ed teachers and aides at Tolman. So I just wanted to say that and thank you guys, everybody, doing a great job. Okay, so our coaches, our head coach is Mr. Giannis Noel, and our assistant coach is Mr. Spencer Willett. Okay, now our players, let's see, I don't think he's here, but we want to introduce all the names. So Gio Alves, let's give him a round of applause. He's not here. Okay, Jim Terry Bonellis. They're not here. No. Okay, and one of our all-around star athletes who plays quite a few sports at Tolman, Trinity Burke. Christopher Cavallo. He's a smooth left-hander, Christopher. And number one, a scoring machine, Sarah Davin. I think she had our first 4 or 6 points in that game. Then we have Ariel Diaz. Albino Fernandez. And let's see, I don't see, we have Selassie Garcia not here tonight, huh? Too bad. All right. Matthew Hector. Okay, one of our partners not here tonight, but Joel Moraes Montero. And the big guy on the team, Braden Ribeiro, another smooth left-hander. Okay, now the guy making all the big baskets, we call him, or I call him anyway, Big Game Hunter Smith. And the next lady, she's won 2 state championships this year. One as a cheerleader, and now for unified basketball, Anne Marie Sorrenti. Don't be shy. Come on up. And we have James Sumo. And last but not least, he's not here tonight, one of our partners, Ricardo Rico Timas.
Thank you and congratulations to all of you.
Oh, oh, okay. But thank you though for making sure we didn't leave somebody out. I would have felt bad about that. Thank you. Mark, can you send me?
Congratulations and thank you. Thank you to the coaches. Frank, congratulations also. That's a great accomplishment to all of you. Next, we have up public participation. We are going to have Giannis Noel. If you could please come up to the podium, that would be terrific. Thank you. We do have a few people talking. If we could try to keep it just to about 3 to 4 minutes, that would be great.
They're cutting me already.
I'm sorry, we just want to keep it fair for everyone.
I'm trying to be quick. I'll try to be quick. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Giannis Noel. As you see, I just got introduced as the coach. I've been in the capacity of a coach, a parent. I had a child graduate about 5 years ago. She just graduated UMass Dartmouth and just got a great job. I also worked for the school department as a teacher assistant. And I'm a graduate of Shea High School class of 1992. I'm going to start by a saying, a French saying that goes, de temps en temps, le lion a besoin de la souris, which means from time to time, the lions might need a mice. You are all lions here. I'm the mice. So therefore, I'll be begging of you tonight a few things. Okay. The background to the story is big lion, big strong lion has a little thorn on his foot, but he can't take it. He's in a lot of pain. And this mice approach him. The lion asks him, wow, how dare you approach me? You know, I can eat you just like this. He said, I saw you that you're in pain and I know that I can help you. So let me help you. So the little mice goes in, takes the thorn out of his leg. The lion feels bad. The lion says, thank you. I can't believe that you had the strength, the audacity to approach me for help. So that's why I'm here. I've seen a lot, I basically, as a military term, usually it's good to get feedback for someone that's been in the trenches. And I have the last 5 years been in the trenches working as a teacher assistant for the for the Pawtucket School Department. Unfortunately, I'm not. I had to resign my position. We can all agree the key success to any entity is to recruit. Number one, you have to recruit good talent. And number two, you have to retain that talent. Those are very important. Okay, in the last few years, we have been doing a good job of recruiting, but in my opinion, we have done an awful job at retaining good people leaving. I worked with Mr. Lazarowski. Michael Lazarowski was principal here at Jenks for about 3 years. I just called him this afternoon. I said, Mr. Laz, I have to ask you a question. I said, before you left, when you notified the school department, did they try to retain you? Did they offer you something? Because I know you had aspiration of being a high school principal. He didn't want to be in the middle school anymore. And his answer was no. I asked him, if they would have told you, would you have taken the position? He said yes. And I worked with him. I seen eyewitness what he had done to Jenks, the turnaround that he did here at Jenks Middle School. And I loved it. I didn't love it as a coworker. I told him that. I loved it as a parent. Okay, he's at Barrowville High School. He tells me, I am bored to death. There's nothing to do here. He would have been better off here, right? We could have told him, Mr. Laz, okay, we have a couple of retirements coming in the Tolman High School. At the high school, you could have taken that position, so on and so forth. So that's my saying of retainment. You will be making some big decisions the years coming. New school, unified school. We are looking for a new superintendent. I am asking you, please get it right the first time. Okay? Put your feelings aside, your politics aside, and get the right person based on merit. The parents, the students of Pawtucket deserve that. Your decision based on this new school, this new superintendent, okay, will have impact for years to come.
Don't mean to interrupt, but you do need to
Okay.
wrap it up. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Okay, and whoever you choose, okay, as an effective leader, we don't want an effective leader to look back. We want him to look forward, make decisions, and he never has to look back because he's being undercut. And like I said, you have my permission, like I said, to contact HR to say, Mr. Noel, I would love to sit down with you and ask them for my personal phone number, and we'll have lunch or breakfast and talk some more, because I know time is pressing. But I'm here because, like I said, of the love of the city, of the Pawtucket school system. That's it. That's my love. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Next up is Ann Toole.
Good evening. Last week, I sat here and listened to one of our city councilors and Ron Beaupre address you. I believe they addressed you as members of the Superintendent's Search Committee. I am here tonight as a teacher. My name is Ann Toole, and I have been a teacher in this district for almost 25 years. You are the governing body of our school district, and as such, I would like to believe that you want what is best for our students, our teachers, our staff, and our city. You created a superintendent search committee, appointed members, rules and norms were established, and the committee went about the business of searching for several candidates that would be a good fit for us. They narrowed it down to 2 candidates. Those 2 candidates they wanted to bring to you. Then everything happened. Their time and their expertise were not valued, and a viable candidate withdrew. You held the committee to high standards, and they held themselves to high standards as well. You hold your teachers to high standards, and we hold ourselves to high standards also. Tonight, I am here to ask, implore, and even beg and plead with you to hold yourselves to the high standards that you hold others to for the remainder of your terms, and as well as in the selecting of a new leader for our district. I will leave you with these final words, words that I say to my students. I'll leave out the academic part. I have high hopes, expectations, and standards for your behavior. And I need you to hold yourselves to the same. Thank you.
Kathleen Prudencio. I hope I pronounced that okay.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Prudencio. I am a teaching assistant with the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative at Foundations Academy. Well, here we are again. For several meetings now, we've been sharing the stories of our students with you. We've told you about their anxiety, their trauma, their multiple diagnoses. We've shared their triumphs with you as well. We have asked you to consider the impact of changing their educational placement. Foundations Academy provides wraparound services in a fully collaborative setting where the students do more than succeed. They thrive. Foundations Academy provides not only a school community, but also a second home to our students. Why would anyone close a school where students are thriving? It doesn't make sense. What is the point? This is causing students and their families to suffer. There is no pension liability. Right now, we have a surplus. Please provide us with another year to educate our students. This time will give the state legislature time to work out some changes. It is just 1 year we're asking for. It really isn't that much. On behalf of the students, families, and the staff of Foundations Academy, I respectfully request that you rescind your withdrawal letter from the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have Pat Ford.
Very, very brief. My name is Pat Ford, and I'm general manager of a media startup called the Coalition Radio Network. We're based in Providence, but we spend most of our waking hours seemingly in Pawtucket, except for this past week where I had the pleasure of running into your attorney, both in Westerly, Rhode Island, and the next morning, or next night, I should say, here in Pawtucket. I spend 6 to 7 days a week covering these type of meetings around the state of Rhode Island, literally. And so public access is at the center of everything I do. I'm a libertarian, I'm a civil libertarian. It is my life's work now. So I take these issues very, very seriously. I first want to say I've developed, I think, a very good and respectful working relationship with all of you. Often jovial. We have fun, but I continue to be impressed with which the seriousness and the work ethic that all of you take on some very challenging issues, and the fairness of your meetings. I can tell you, I go to a lot of school meetings around the state. This is really it's a wonderful working environment. Not so, as I'm sure you've read in the newspapers, about other school departments around the state. The meetings are chaos. I would say probably 30 to 40% of the meetings I attend actually have police security on site in an active working format. So it's with this that I was surprised tonight to learn that there are stakeholder meetings taking place with regard to the Unified High School. So a very simple request. And if this is happening and I just don't know about it, that's my fault and I apologize. But number one, these meetings should be properly noticed. As far as I'm concerned, in my interpretation of public meeting laws, these should be open meetings to the public. Number two, they should be noticed properly and broadcast to the public so that everyone has an opportunity to go to these stakeholder meetings. Part and parcel of that, of course, is that you should invite press coverage of this. I've been able to reach, even through my little startup, a lot of people who are happy to find these meetings being live streamed, as this one is right now, just an additional source to amplify all of your hard work. I will tell you that the school committees that embrace the public and embrace public participation are almost always successful. It's in secrecy that people find suspicion and dark motives and misinformation. So I would ask that these stakeholder meetings, again, be open to the public, broadcast, and they should be noticed properly. And if in fact one is happening tomorrow night, and again, I haven't gotten the details on it yet, so forgive me if I'm jumping the gun, tomorrow night is possibly one of the most important public school meetings in recent Pawtucket history. My understanding on the agenda tomorrow is the consideration of the new school board superintendent. This is, and by the way, again, my compliments, you've taken this seriously. This is a critical moment in the city of Pawtucket history. So I would ask you to postpone that so that people have the opportunity to watch or listen or attend both, because what's going to happen here tomorrow night is critical. And possibly the next most important meeting in the Pawtucket City School Committee history is the open conversation that hopefully will be held around the development of the unified high school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now can I entertain a motion for approval of the previous meeting minutes from May 9th, 2023 and May 22nd, 2023? Motion by Mr. Charbonneau and seconded by Ms. Carney. Please call roll.
Ms. Fenolo. Here. Yeah. Ms. Carney. Yeah. Mr. Charbonneau. Ms. Fernandez. Ms. Grant.
Yes. Moving on to new business discussion action items. Approval of budget transfers. There are actually none this evening.
I know, I was quick, right?
Mr. Vine, you're gonna continue for a few more. Approval of food service vendor for the school nutrition program pending the approval of RIDE. Mr. Vine, please.
Okay, so the Pawtucket School Department, as required by law, requested proposals for food service issued on April 14, 2023. The request for proposal was written using a boilerplate document provided by the Rhode Island Department of Education. It was modified to the Pawtucket Department specification as approved by RIDE. Bids were received, then opened in public forum on May 22nd, 2023, where the cost prices and guarantee options were recorded. A review committee was requested to determine a ranking score based on a predetermined rubric. The RFP requests a contract for a 1-year, 2023 to 2024, with 4 optional renewals. Based on the scoring rubric, which was part of the RFP package in the pricing guarantee, the review committee is recommending Aramark to provide the food services. The RFP response includes the following information. There is a guarantee surplus reimbursement for the first year of the contract in the amount of $363,673. The guarantee is for service operations only and does not include expenses that the district may charge to the program. For example, if the district charges utilities, such expenses do not factor in to the guarantee calculation. However, just it be noted that the district does not charge any utilities to the food service program. At this time, RIDE has not approved Aramark proposal, and we are currently working with our legal counsel as we believe the reasoning by RIDE is not valid for 23-24. So in the resolution, it does name that it's pending the approval of RIDE, and I spoke to Mr. Conley briefly. We're working together. We had conversations with RIDE, and he is okay. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Conley. He's right here. He's okay with the resolution. And again, it's still, if you vote to approve Aramark, it would be pending RIDE, and we would have to bring before you, as we usually do, the contract for the 23-24 year. And again, you can only enter into 1 year at a time.
And then it's 4 optional renewals. So each year you have seen me come before you with a renewal package. So again, it's for the 23-24 year and it's for Aramark.
Made by Mr. Charbonneau, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. Any discussion, Ms. Bonolo?
What was Ride's reasoning?
So RIDE in the RFP package, when the proposal was released, there is, and I apologize for not knowing the exact name, but the CPI, there's many CPIs, consumer price indexes out there. And the one that was in the RFP was the urban district. And I'm sorry, I will find the exact name, but to the point being, what was in the RFP was not what Aramark put into their bid package. However, what was not acknowledged by RIDE that we found later is, and so they sent a letter saying that because they didn't respond, although Mr. Conley and a few members of our team here in business office spoke, the CPI has nothing to do with year one. And it's stated in the very first paragraph of the RFP that Pawtucket is seeking a bid proposal for 1 year with 4 optionals. So the CPI factor for the management fees does not come into play in this 1-year contract. RIDE, however, disagreed and said, because they do that, we have to throw out the entire bid. However, later, after scrutinizing and looking and trying to figure out, because I could not find it in the Trotwells, we ended up finding in the addendum, they did the same thing, and they actually used the same CPI, which was food away from home CPI. And so therefore, I had a meeting with RIDE and I brought it to their attention. So now they're going back to their legal. I did hear from about a couple of other districts that had the same problem. And from my understanding, haven't proven the fact yet. I have to reach out to 2 districts. They are allowing those districts to move forward with Aramark. So Mr. Conley and we only found this out Friday. Mr. Conley and I had with 2 members of my team, had a conversation on Monday. I actually then spoke to RIDE on Monday afternoon. And so unfortunately, I hadn't been able to get to Mr. Conley today other than at this meeting. So again, like I said, we are challenging it. We disagree with them. And I don't know if Mr. Conley has any additional words or you have additional questions, but it was related to the CPI, which has nothing to do with the first year of the contract. And again, like I said, we cannot do anything unless we get approved by RIDE.
When do you anticipate an answer?
So the next steps is to talk with Mr. Conley, and then we're going to probably develop a letter and reach out to RIDE. But again, I will reach back out to the contact on at RIDE, letting them know that this is crucial. We're 3 weeks away from the program starting. And again, I will reach out to the other 2 districts that I understand have been approved. I was under the impression that one of the 2 districts, and I don't want to mention their name because I haven't really spoken to anyone there. And so I would rather speak directly to them myself. But one of the districts, from what I understand, received the same type of letter we did, but they did not receive a bid from anyone else. So I don't know if they're allowing them to do an emergency procurement. But again, I still believe it's a number of reasons, and this is just my opinion, and I don't know if it's all of Mr. Conley's, but we had a little discussion about it. It's minimal in the contract. It has nothing to do with year one. And the language that the USD puts out there says that in order to be compliant with an RFP, you have to adhere to the RFP or work it out in a contract. And that's where we believe that this isn't the contract. Like, this is the approval of the vendor, and we're putting together the contract. So again, that's where we're at right now.
So with Ride's approval, you could put the correct CPI into the contract? And
Well,
that-
we could, I would
that's what
imagine,
would be
I would like
approved?
to think that Aramark would agree to that if that was going to hold up their contract. But again, the CPI is not in play for 23-24. It's 24-25 that they've given there.
But we approved this with the option of.
We're
3 more
approving it
years,
pending the
correct?
approval of RIDE.
Right,
In other words,
but
we're
it's an option of 3 more years.
it's an option for 4 more years, but those are each year you have to come and vote on them. So it's not,
You
it's
have to
only a
go
1-year
through
contract,
the whole,
not the whole process. So it's a 1 year. And then you bring a renewal forward with the changes in the fees each year, correct? You could say, I'm going out to bid next year. You can approve it this year and then say, I want to do another bid next year. You know, there's no obligation to have to renew. You can notify them. And I believe there's language, Mr. Conley, in the contract that says you can notify a vendor if you're not happy and you can do the bid process over anytime, year 2, 3, 4, whichever you please. But again, the resolution is generic and the resolution was put on there purposely because we weren't sure. I hadn't received an answer yet. And I had given the school committee clerk, Mrs. Liss, the resolution language prior to that. So again, I think if you look in the past 5 years ago, we did the same thing pending the approval of RIDE.
Questions? Ms. Liss, please take roll.
Ms. Bonolo. Ms. Carney. Mr. Charbonneau. Ms. Fernandez. Ms. Graham.
Yes. Next one, again, Mrs. Devine, approval of RIDE MOA Amendment Number 2, Facilities Equity Initiative, Phase 2.
See, before you this evening, as I've been up here over the last couple of months, we have been working together with the team, central office, superintendent, assistant superintendents, and other directors regarding trying to find ways, and working with RIDE, trying to find ways to change around some of the funding sources that have been provided to the district. And the Facilities Equity MOA, this is an amendment number 2 for change to add scope for Baldwin. So the Facilities Equity Initiative was approved to include 2 upgrades to playgrounds at Cunningham and Curtis. The amounts are $1,145,000 and $783,721 respectively. These 2 projects have been moved to the ESSA 3, rounded figures of 1.1 for Cunningham and 784 for Curtis. The district requested to use the funds within the FEI Phase 2 for Baldwin Elementary School for either gymnasium, cafeteria, or media center community spaces. RIDE has revised the MOA to include the Baldwin location on the MOA document. The other locations are 3 of the 4 locations that we are doing for the second retrofit lighting projects. There is some cost to the district, even if MBE, WBE is met. The FEI 2 projects will reimburse an additional 10% if the 15% MBE, WBE is met. So in other words, the first lighting retrofit FEI, that project was a 100%, and it was the lighting, and then it was the media centers and the golf steam room. That's going to be 100% as long as we meet the final bills, meet the MBE at 15%. This second round, they're only going to allow an additional 10% above the 83. So the district would likely, as long as we meet it, be responsible for the 7%. So they have allowed, and I actually did, to get for clarification, you'll see in your document behind the MOA, there is a document that actually lists, because again, I didn't trust, and again, not that I don't trust RIDE, but you need to have hardcore documents, that I asked them to add the Baldwin physically with the words cafeteria, gymnasium, media centers. So that way Baldwin is actually listed outright on there. So there should be no issues with the project of any of the new Baldwin construction related to the cafeteria, gym, and media center. And that's 1.928.
Oh, clarification from Ms. Devine, or? Sure. Oh, I didn't do the, did I? Oh,
Do
did
we
I?
need a
didn't.
motion to move
I
this
apologize.
ahead to vote on it? Yeah, so motion to,
Draw my motion.
okay, motion to move
apologize.
amendment 2 ahead of amendment MOA amendment 1 for vote.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Bonolo, seconded by Mr. Charbonneau. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor. Thank you. Okay, I apologize for that. Are there any questions? Oh, motion, please, Mr. Charbonneau. Motion made by Mr. Charbonneau, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. Any questions? Ms. Liz, please call roll.
Ms. Bonolo. Ms. Carney. Mr. Charbonneau. Ms. Fernandez. Ms. Grant.
Yes. Again, I apologize. We'll go back to C, approval of RIDE MOA Amendment Number 1 of the 21st Century Technology in Furniture Grant. Mr.
Thank you. So this is a similar situation, another funding source that RIDE is allowing the district. I'll read my brief summary. Pawtucket School Department was awarded the 21st Century Technology and Furniture Grant in the amount of $1,356,835 of the state's total $15 million. This grant originally consisted of hardware, purchase services for firefighter program, and equipment improvements for the culinary program at Shea. All of these costs have been moved to the ESSER 3 fund, which was being submitted to RIDE for approval, previously approved by the committee here. With that said, the MOA will allow the 1.3 to be used for the Baldwin School. I did confirm with an email as well. This would include any location for technology and furniture. The second part of the request is the date extension. This funding source has been extended until December 31st, 2024. It is important that these funds be spent as soon as possible to not jeopardize the expiration date. It should be also noted that Colliers keeps this separate from submitting the housing aid reimbursement, as using this grant requires exclusion from the final Baldwin housing aid submission in summer of 2025. So I just wanted to, I'll ensure prior to me leaving here that we ensure that this is noted in their notes. So that way, when that submission happens in 2025, it will be excluded because we cannot double dip. It's a grant and we can't include it.
Motion approved by Ms. Bonolo, seconded by Ms. Fernandez. Any questions? Ms. Liz, please call roll. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
We're going to miss this, you know.
I'm sorry. You want to call me up? Do you want me to tape myself? Hold on. We can do a recording session. Excellent. I'm sorry. Please don't make me cry. Please.
Having you here has
Thank you.
been the biggest bonus that this district.
Thank
has
you.
had in
Much
10
appreciated.
years.
And it's a team effort.
Thank you.
Team effort. Team effort. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Ms. Bonolo, please take roll.
Ms. Bonolo. Yeah. Ms. Carney. Yeah. Mr. Charbonneau. Ms. Fernandez. Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Before any of yous leave tonight, just see committee members, just see Ms. Liz for the MOAs. She just needs to have them signed. Next, we have Jared from Colliers, recommendation to award architects for Francis J. Varia wall finish replacement design services. Can I entertain a motion to approve? Motion made by Ms. Carney, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. Any questions? Ms. Bonolo, please.
Before we start with all the conversations that all of these have gone before the facilities committee and been approved. So
Okay, do you have anything else to say? Or?
not at the moment.
Mr. Charbonneau?
This is to fix the media center kind of.
This project is specifically to hire the design services for the architects to fur out the walls at all of the brick areas in the media center. There's approximately 125 linear feet of brick areas that have exposed conduit and light boxes and stuff like that. So it will fur out the walls to be able to make a nice smooth finish around all of those brick
So 125 square feet of brick.
So linear feet. So I did that. It's, I want to say 7 or 8, little like column areas that go about 10 to 20 feet at a time. But it's approximately 125 linear feet, multiplied by the height. This is just for the design services for them to come in and do the drawings needed and submit to RIDE so that we can go out to bid.
What did we set aside for the actual work?
We have 220 total for design services and work. So the estimate came in at $19,900, which is just about 9 to 10% of that work.
So 220 for. And what did we spend on the media center itself? The whole thing?
That is where did you go? Total media centers? Just at Barrier or total? Just at
Yeah,
Barrier?
no, what did we spend at the media center at Varia?
But it's gonna be just the media centers, isn't it? I apologize for not knowing that off the top of my head.
I don't want to approve $20,000 worth of design services to do $200,000 worth of work to kind of fix a project that we spent $300,000 on total.
So the total for all of the FEI media centers was 2.4 million.
And how many media centers?
Six total.
So $500,000 a piece?
Mhm.
And we're gonna spend half of that.
Well, the estimate that we have is approximately 200. I'm not sure if it'll come in at that exact amount, but that's the estimate that we have set aside for it, so that we have the funds for it.
If I could, during the subcommittee meeting, one of my questions was, was the principal aware of the problem during the process of the media center? And it was mentioned that she was, and that it was mentioned and brought up. And I asked why it didn't come back to the subcommittee for approval, so we could discuss, because my concern was, now that we're going to have to go back, is it going to cost us more than what it would have when they were actually working? And I really didn't get much of an answer. But they did say that they were aware of all this while the work was being done. Which again, just kind of brings me to the question, why didn't it come back to the subcommittee if we needed to figure out alternative types of construction or a company to make sure that this got done the correct way?
Yes, and when it was presented to the teachers, there were drawings and some generic renderings that showed it as if it was a smooth wall. So I could see how originally they thought it was going to be a smooth wall versus the brick exposed finish that we currently have there. The one note that I would say is that I believe we found out during construction that it was going to be that way, the exposed brick, as opposed to furring it out and having the wallboard. So I don't know that it had allowed enough time to be able to incorporate it into the project if we had brought it forth. But then in addition to that, we are finding this funding source from a separate funding source that has had a little bit of additional extra money. So that is part of why we're able to include this. We didn't have the funding to be able to add that in, but
On the subcommittee, it wasn't brought to us at all.
no, I know.
So by saying, I don't know, well, we'll never know,
Yeah.
because it was never brought forward to the correct committee to look into it. Ms. Bonolo, did you have a question?
What is the funding source?
FEI 1.
FEI one?
Mhm.
And I believe we have another school that still has brick on the exterior. Is that Cunningham? Is there some? Curtis?
Curtis and Cunningham that still has brick on the FEI, on the media centers. No, Barrier is the one that we're doing, but the other one is the Cunningham facility subcommittee.
Curtis has some. So, just as way of explanation, I was looking at the media centers at the time, and the principal thought that they framed in the columns that were in the middle of the room and straightened that out, but it's the exterior walls that didn't get framed in.
I get it. I'm just questioning the wisdom in spending 250,000 to fix a project that cost us $500,000 altogether. I just,
Yeah, I understand that concern, and I guess one thing that I could add is that out of that 2.4, it wasn't equally dispersed amongst all of them. Some of them were bigger, larger media centers that required more funds, and some of them were smaller. So it
Right. So it
isn't,
could be-
it isn't perfect, but yes, we are spending close to $200,000 to fur out the walls, in addition to the approximately 500 plus that we spent already.
Questions? Mr. Charbonneau, are you all set?
no, question from Ms. Devine. If this is not approved, what becomes of the allocated? What did you say we set aside for
The
this?
FEI one, the 220,000.
So it's earmarked for that specific.
Because 1.1 total, we had about 2.2 for the FEI Media Center barrier wall furring out, and another 900 or so for playground equipment. Just-
I'm good. What's the timeline to get this done?
So this would be to engage the architects and approximately a month and a half for them to do their drawings, get approvals on everything. And then from then it would be fall projects that need to be completed by December. So it would be after hours.
We
third
can't
shift.
get this done during the summer?
Well, this is, no, this is just for the design services.
No, I understand that
Yeah.
this is for the design services, but if we approve this tonight,
Mhm.
we get design services, we can't turn around the design and get a construction firm to.
My schedule and estimate had about approximately a month or so of design and then sending it out to bid for another 3 weeks or so and then getting in, and that would put us into August.
Okay,
I will push as hard as I can to get it done faster.
thank you.
Any more questions? Ms. List, please take roll.
Ms. Spinola, Ms. Carney, Mr. Charbonneau, Ms. Fernandez. Yeah, thank you. Ms. Grant.
Yes. Now we're on to recommendation to award architects for the Life Skills Suite Design Services. Jared?
Thank you. The motion is for the committee to recommend the architectural services of LLB in the amount of $67,450 for the Life Skills Suite project. And per the facilities subcommittee's directive, we'd like to move forward with the Life Skills Suite in the administration building.
Motion to approve by Mr. Charbonneau, seconded by Ms. Carney. Any discussion?
So I just want to make it clear that the original information was to have life skill done here in Jenks. However, it was the decision of the committee and for Ms. Grant and Dr. Andre, making us aware that our transition people need the life skills to go out into the world. Is more important that they have a place where they can actually learn versus 13 and 14-year-olds. These are 18 to 21, and they need the services more. So we just changed the location. The price is the same, and Jared is going to get us a new document that says administration building versus Jenks.
And just to elaborate that on a little bit, the architects that we had hired for this LLB to do their schematic design, this is kind of going into phase 2 of their design development construction documents because we weren't sure exactly what we were looking for back then. So we hired them to do schematic design. This is to add on to their contract. During schematic design, they did review the 3 options, an ADA bathroom in the I keep wanting to say annex, the administration building, the life skills suite in the administration building, and the life skills suite in Jenks. And when they came back to us with their estimates for each of these, we were only able to take one. We are going to continue to explore additional avenues to see if we can get more money to add either the bathrooms or Jenks back into it. But right now, with the funds available, we only have the option to do one. So the architects were willing to do any of the 3 spaces for this cost, but they had written Jenks because that was the directive that we thought we were going in. But at the facilities subcommittee, they would like to prioritize the administrative life suites.
Just Charbonneau?
Just one quick question. So no bids, these are coming off the house doc?
Yeah, so this one is coming off House Doc. We actually already have LLB. We sent out bids originally for the schematic design and we got LLB on board. So this is for them to continue with their work. But yes,
Wait a minute.
this is a recommendation to award to LLB to extend their contract to keep them on board through the House Doc. So yes.
All right, we have the ability to extend their contract?
We do.
What was the original contract worth?
10,000, I think.
Okay.
9,000.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, so this afternoon I received a phone call from Jared. There were 3, like Jared stated, there were 3 items that Dr. Andre and myself had, and one of the previous superintendents had walked the schools to see if there were anything that could be done to support some of the programs in the special education area. And we had noticed here at Jenks that they do have they have an area for skills, and unfortunately the area is very small, where if someone was in a wheelchair, it would make it very difficult. However, if you go downtown to see the transition area for our adults, 18 to 21, almost 22, they really only have a room. They don't even have a kitchen that they can use anymore due to, so after some conversation, we decided, to bring forth that we transition the money over. The purpose of the transition program is to prepare these young men and women to go out into the world by, teaching them how to cook, teaching them how to clean, maintain things, get a job, make a bed, different things like that. And we don't have any of that. We do, and Dr. Andre and his team has worked very diligently on being on a bus line, working with different companies to get the students, the young men and women jobs. But there's more to life. And I think we have an obligation to make sure that we provide the right kind of transition program. And transition typically starts at age 14. Of course, you want all your students to have everything they need. But I think we really need to provide the young men and women in the program the items that they need before we provide them to students who are younger, who haven't even reached that level yet. So I just want to, thank you for looking into that. And I want to thank, Dr. Andrade and Ms. Bonolo for, and Ms. Carney for, working on trying to have this changed over. So if there aren't any more questions, can I entertain a roll call?
Ms. Bonolo, Ms. Carney, Mr. Charbonneau, Ms. Fernandez, Ms. Grant.
Yes, thank you. And next we have the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative update by the interim superintendent, Ms. Mercer.
At the last school committee meeting, I was asked to give an update on the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative, and on June 2nd, 2023, I sent this letter to the members of the school committee. This correspondence contains an update of the dissolution of the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative. On December 19th, 2022, the district sent letters to Commissioner Angelica Infante Green and Dr. Bernie DeLulo, chairperson of the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative, informing them of the Pawtucket School Committee's vote to withdraw the Pawtucket School Department from the NRIC. Records indicate that the Pawtucket School Committee was one of the last to withdraw, and as of December 21st, 2022, all member school districts had withdrawn. In April of 2023, the NRIC Board of Directors agreed upon a plan of dissolution for the NRIC in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 7654. This plan is a description of how the NRIC intends to dissolve and formally close the business. Consistent with state law and contractual requirements, the NRIC has provided appropriate notification of dissolution and termination of its employment relationships. Appeals of said employment have also been heard. The holders of the school and administrative office lease agreements have also been notified of the NRIC's Board of Directors' intent to terminate these leases. The dissolution plan also calls for the continued indemnification of stakeholders during the implementation of this plan and the winding down of the affairs of the NRIC on June 30th, 2023. The minutes of the December 19th, 2022 Pawtucket School Committee meeting state that it was the recommendation of the committee to withdraw from participation in the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative Educational Program due to an increased liability. As mentioned above, the dissolution plan only indemnifies stakeholders to the end of the dissolution, June 30th, 1923, at which time there will be no insurance in place to hold districts harmless. According to Rhode Island, Title 16 is the state of Rhode Island through its governing laws that has identified the powers and duties of the collaboratives. Although there has been discussion with state representative and RIDE regarding any continued relationship with NRIC, there has been no agreement for further indemnification after June 30th, 2023 by the state at this time of this writing, which was June 2nd, 2023. At a meeting held on May 31st, 2023, with NRIC's union representative and legal counsel and then NRIC's chairperson and legal counsel, it was agreed that they would continue discussions with their representatives regarding liability. This document has been vetted for accuracy by William Connolly, our legal counsel for Pawtucket, and Dr. Bernie DeLulo, chairperson of the NRIC Board of Directors. In addition, on June 5th, 2023, the Board of Directors appointed a liquidation manager with direct responsibility for the liquidation of the NRIC's assets. Respectively submitted, Kim Mercer, interim superintendent.
Any questions? Okay, thank you for that update. Thank you. So now we move on to discussion items. Unified High School, Jared.
Thank you. I have brought the architects, Jonathan Levy Architects, here to give a update on the Unified High School Stage 2 submission.
Thank you, Jared. Good to be with you again. So we have exciting progress on our Unified High School to report out on. I would say we're just about at the midpoint of our very abbreviated schedule. So our ultimate goal is to submit the ride by early August. I think we're going to be able to we will accomplish that. The important activities that are ongoing right now are, number one, a demographic study that is going to help us establish the enrollment number for the school, which is a very important number because it governs not only the size of the school, but the amount, the cost of the school and the reimbursement that will be coming from the state. So it being that important, we had an initial conversation with Dr. Joe De Silva of RIDE in order to have him provide us with some insight as to how they'd be feeling about the calculation of the enrollment and also the role that the demographer will play. And out of that, the takeaway was that Dr. De Silva encouraged us to not only have one demographer, but to have two. So we have now hired a second demographer, and there will be two weighing in and conversing with one another and Dr. De Silva to help us make sure that we receive the maximum reimbursement from the state, i.e. that we can determine the largest possible enrollment that that Pawtucket would envision it needs, and that's a very important step. The other items are more technical. The site survey, it's a very large site and it hasn't been surveyed, so that's well underway. We have geotechnical information that's been we've been gathering, and then finally a traffic study is also underway for that site, which will be very important considering the interactivity between the new high school and the building that we're in now with its two school programs. So those all are underway. Now, as far as the design and programming effort, so you know my firm, JLA, but we're also joined in this effort by DLR Group, and we have Brian Donnelly, project manager for DLR Group, joining us from his base in Washington. And they have been very active working with us to help give voice to Pawtucket's vision for what it would like the new high school to be. So there are two aspects to that that have taken place. The first was a very energetic and spirited participation in a two-day visioning session. So we had two full 6-hour days of participation by some 30 folks, representing a pretty wide cross-section, not only faculty, administration, but also and students, but also community members who provided us with their ideas about what, from a blank slate, a new high school should look like. That was facilitated by Brian and his team. There were 4 DLR participants came in from Washington, New York to help facilitate that visioning session. Basically, they had a series of exercises that people went through to understand what our priorities are. And I think probably the greatest message that came out of that was understanding how to break down a school of such size, perhaps as large as 2,100, maybe as large as 2,400, into small learning communities where every student can be known by name, not only to themselves, but also to faculty and administration. So that was the largest takeaway. There will be a session that we will all have together upcoming where you'll have received a booklet in advance, which is the report, which is still in draft form for you to review and for us to discuss perhaps at this meeting. The second important activity that occurred also unfolded over 2 days, which was what we called focus programming groups, which were held both at the Shea on one day and the Tolman on the next, where we met with individual teachers and administration and also department folks, maintenance people, sports people. We met with everyone who is involved with running the school and knows all the details of what works and what doesn't work. And as I mentioned at the facilities meeting that preceded this one, the real important thing there was to tease out from them not only their, complaints about windows that don't open and things that they know from the environments that are the substandard environments that they're currently trying to deal with, but really erase all of that and start from a tabula rasa point of view. What would a perfect new school really look like? Not just reacting to what their individual situations are dictating today, but thinking outside the box about the future. So that happened over 2 days. So we take the visioning report, we take the focus group notes, we put those together, and we then are starting to generate something called a space program, which is a list of every space in the new school that is anticipated and the size of those spaces, and then also creating diagrams of adjacencies between those spaces and how all of that forms the organization and the culture of a new school. That document is being absorbed by the central administration folks, the two principals, Chris and Jackie, who have been so effective and so articulate in telling us about their school's current cultures. And then we'll bring that to you and you'll be able to absorb it for yourself. I'd say one of the great themes of that document is the role that CTE, Career Technical Education, will play in the new high school. Very different from today's role. We're aiming to create something called a comprehensive high school, which is a school where CTE is as important as academic endeavor, and it's mixed together. It's not just in a place by itself as vocational education, but everything's on the same level and interactive with one another so that students are both participating in CTE and academic programs. Tomorrow, there's an important meeting with the stakeholders where we will be reporting out on all this information that I just mentioned to you. In addition, we will have some preliminary design concepts, which are very preliminary, but which are meant to elicit responses, and that will be, I'm sure, a very important conversation tomorrow. So as I said before, we're heading towards our early August RIDE submission date. Some of this is kind of vertically stacked, where normally it would be more spread out just because of the very compressed nature of the schedule that we all have to live with. And that's why we're doing both design and programming almost simultaneously. But I think it's going to be we've gotten great direction, a lot of clarity from Lisa and her staff, and from all of you, so who participate in these various meetings. So with that, I'll open it to questions, if there are any.
Mr. Charbonneau, Ms. Carney, Ms. Fernandez, Ms. Doobie, Ms. Panola. All right, thank you.
Good. Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate
Good.
it.
Good. Thank you very much.
Next is discussion items, Winters Elementary School. Jared?
Good evening. Thank you again. I am here with Mike Mike Bussum, sorry. Mike Bussum from Gilbane. We wanted to give an update on the status of the winter's HVAC issues that have been going on. As we came here a few weeks ago at the school committee meeting, we presented that we had found the root of the cause of the issue and that we were going to be going forth with commissioning. And the commissioning was going to investigate all aspects of the system and flush out everything and then create the report and send it on to the subcontractor for their review and fixes of everything. And I am pleased to state that as of this morning and through thorough discussion and vetting between commissioning, the engineer and Gilbane and Colliers and Peregrine, and JCI, the whole team coming together, we have come to a point where we feel comfortable and the team feels comfortable to turn the building system back on with the AC back on full time to normal operating system to help turn everything back over.
Mr. Charbonneau?
The report is finalized?
So we've had multiple reports over here, but the commissioning report, all of their investigation of all the systems, testing everything point to point and everything that they have done has been finalized, yes. And then it was sent over to Peregrine, who reviewed all of these and made the corrections necessary. There are still a few minor tweaks that they feel they need to run the AC full time to be able to do that. But yes, the report is finalized.
But we're in, the Pawtucket School Department's in possession of all the reports as well, right? It's not just Colliers, Peregrine?
Yes, yes. Anything that has come to us has been shared.
Okay.
Going to be happening this summer, and maybe the superintendent wants to weigh in as well, or whoever has the knowledge of, are we running summer programs there? Is the building being used
Yes.
partially, how is that building being used this summer?
Yeah, so we are intending full summer school classes, and we are intending to have Gilbane come in to perform all their activity. If you want to speak a little bit,
Yeah.
you can, before and then after summer school. but
Exactly.
yeah.
So we're well aware of the summer schedule there. So we will be in a blackout period. No work will occur during July 5th through August 5th. Because of obviously the school activities that are happening there. So we would be coming in on the 22nd. And then working that entire following week with a number of punch list items that we need to accomplish. And some of the millwork repairs that need to occur because of the insurance issue that had happened. Then put a pause on that and then come back for 3 solid weeks. A solid week of activity in August, right after that summer school ends and before obviously the next school academic year begins.
And that, when the next academic school year begins, are we then done with winters? Like,
Yes.
is that, but I mean, because
Yeah.
I don't know if there were additional like punch list items or
Yeah.
things that weren't because of this, so are we like, we're just done?
There were, and the schedule that I have that I can share with everybody here if they'd like to, separates out the winter's water damage issues that are being replaced from the punch list items that were still remaining.
We're in receipt of additional items that one of your school committee members identified for us. We've incorporated that into the punch list. A lot of those were consistent with what was on the official punch list review, and those will also be addressed.
Yes, at the end of the summer.
Any other questions? I just have one quick question. I know we talked about it in the subcommittee, but when do you foresee the Pawtucket School Committee, not the Pawtucket School Committee, the custodians and our Pawtucket taking over
Yeah.
to have full control over
So
the system?
yeah, so that's a great question. With this turning over of the AC, turning it back on, JCI and Peregrine and everybody are still going to be involved over the next month or so, maybe even 2 months, depending on how long it takes to look at everything, keep an eye on everything and ensure that everything is good. We have had multiple meetings throughout the process of this with facilities, so they are up to date on the system and how it works and stuff like that. And we will continue to work alongside them so that, in a month or 2 or so from now, it'll be completely turned over to facilities. We will work with them to ensure that they feel comfortable with the system that they have.
And then I'll go after you. I already went once.
Okay, so, and
it just made me think when you said one of the committee members. So my question is, Jared, you were going to look at the original scope of work and was the wallboard primed or was the primer and the paint together?
Yes, yes. So one of the items on the punch list that was requested to look into was whether or how many layers of paint there were. So there is a layer of primer on the gypsum wallboard as well as a minimum of 2 layers of paint. There are a lot of areas where that paint is white, similar to the primer, so it can be very indistinguishable. But there have been, and I actually went back through some of my photos as well to double check and make sure that a lot of the walls that are color, I have photos of white primer being applied beforehand.
Yeah, while we're on a winter's update, where are we with the solar panel?
That's a great question. So the solar panels are fully installed on the roof and were installed somewhere around November or so. We have gone back and forth multiple times with multiple meetings and submissions with National Grid back then, and now it's Rhode Island Energy, to get the application finalized. And we are still in that application process. I know John Cody gets emails regularly from it. And we have a lot of back and forth. There's a significant amount of documentation needed and information regarding it that they keep requesting additionally. So I would foresee within the next couple months it'll be operational, but it's there and ready to be turned on. It's just the coordination and the application process with National Grid that is holding it up.
Keep us updated on that, Joe.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
More questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. The next update is on the ADA bathrooms. Oh, I'm sorry, I actually crossed Baldwin off. Update on Baldwin Elementary School. Thank you.
So I just wanted to give a quick update, and I'm here with Shawmut and Torado to answer any questions or concerns, but I wanted to give an update on where we stand with Baldwin currently. So at the previous school committee and facility subcommittee meeting, we presented the design, it was either previous one before that, the design development drawings for approval to submit to RIDE. We then submitted those design development drawings to RIDE, and they have given their approval with comments to move forward. Alongside that, in some of the early release packages that we presented for some of the RTAs, the site work, the concrete work, and the structural steel have been approved, and we are moving forward with that as well as the ground improvements that we are doing at Baldwin site. So if you drive by these days, you'll actually start seeing some backhoes moving some dirt, and in about a month or so, you'll see, or a couple weeks, hopefully, you'll start seeing some formwork and concrete foundations being poured. So Baldwin is moving right along. We have an anticipated 60% CD construction document submission from the architects at the end of the month on the 30th. And then with that, we will bring that forth to the school committee for their review and approval to submit to RIDE, similar to how we had done with DD. And then after the construction document submission to RIDE, that is the final submission to RIDE, and we will be rocking and rolling. And one thing I did want to note that Gordon keeps reminding me, we've also had a lot of interaction with the schools. We've had multiple presentations to the elementary schools, some of those students, showing them design and construction and working with them to help explain how a lot of this is happening. And then we've also had 2 separate presentations to both one to Shea and one to Tolman to explore avenues in the construction business as well. So the student outreach has been going really well, in my opinion. Hopefully the same with the district.
Mr. Charbonneau, then Ms. Bonolo.
So the timeline, last meeting we heard that we were roughly a year behind schedule. Does that still hold today?
So I apologize, I wasn't at the last meeting, but the current timeline that we have substantial completion on end of December 31st or so of 2024, and then final completion about mid-April or so, first couple of weeks of April in 2025. So at this moment, we are planning to have the building ready for occupancy in April. Now, whether or not the school department decides to move in from the annex into into Baldwin three quarters of the way through a school year or not. I mean, it may be better to do it as a summer move-in, which I think is where that September move-in came from at the last meeting, but.
So because of the delayed start, for whatever reason, does the flow now become impacted? Are we gonna get into a point in the season here, weather-wise, where we're not able to, I mean, did we flow this work all out so we will be able to?
We're on schedule to be substantially complete end of December, completion in April. So right now, we're on that schedule. That's the schedule we're holding. We'll update it again. There's, you know, as you know, the procurement issues, but we early release, the next early release is with MEPs. That's the most critical. That's the next critical path. The steel, we got the steel, we have structural, we have concrete, so we can get the building up. We need to get the MEPs released. And that's, and we know that, so this 60% CD set is gonna help us do that. And then we need to release that equipment because we're seeing that has not improved. But we're, right now, we don't put no panic button. We're on schedule for April completion.
Is there,
25.
is there a general improving of lead times and supply chain? Or?
I'd like to say yes, but right now with MEPs and electrical, we're seeing it really difficult with electrical because of the components are coming from all over the world, but the custom units on the MEP side are still way out, but if you stick with you know, units that don't have to be custom made, they're normal. So anything custom, but the electrical is an issue in a lot of places. You can't get the panel boards, you can't get the components of the panel boards. So that's the critical one. We're seeing 60 weeks for just a panel board. So that's where we're really focused to try to get that released as soon as possible.
Jared, while you're there, I don't know if you can turn on the.
I can, if you want, I could give a quick description of it. You're referring to the bathrooms that we discussed.
Yeah.
So,
I do want the school committee to be informed and I do want them to weigh in on their thoughts.
okay. Yeah, if you want, I can turn on my computer and I can show them what we currently have. I don't have any renderings of what it would be, but. Give me a sec. Subcommittee meeting was the groupings of toilets that we currently have designed, that we've had at design development, that was a recommendation from RIDE, was to have all of our toilets as individual restrooms that could be boys, girls, male, female, or unisex as well. And in the discussion, it was the directive of the facilities subcommittee and the members who voted that they would prefer to have gang toilets or group toilets. I apologize, that's a term that industry term that doesn't sound great. Group toilets that would have, so instead of having a hallway with 3 individual rooms that could be locked with students, one single occupancy use, there would be a single room for the boys, a single room for the girls that would have 2, 3, 4 toilets in it with toilet compartments like we have in a lot of the other schools.
If I may, Ms. Grant. Okay, so when they brought this to me as the RIDE recommendation, we got the notes from the architect who was there. That it was their recommendation, it's to counteract bullying. Okay, but what we've also figured out now is that while they have the individual toilets, they can lock them from the inside. And if you need to get somebody out of it, you have to go get the key from the custodian or whoever has it. However, it's fine when a teacher takes a class of students to the lavatories. That's fine, they're supervised. But if John decides at 10 o'clock he's getting a pass, and Jane decides that she's getting a pass at 10 o'clock, then we have unsupervised locked toilets that they can meet up in. With the history of issues that we've had in Pawtucket, I don't think that's safe. There's also students that may have emotional issues. If they run out of a classroom, they have a multitude of toilets that they can run to and hide in and lock themselves in. If we have students who cut, they can be in those toilets and harm themselves, and they're locked in, and we don't know and we don't have access. So while I understand the point of trying to minimize bullying, I also fear that there's a greater ability to allow students to harm themselves or cause harm to themselves if we put them in a toilet that they can lock on their own.
So we reviewed this relatively thoroughly with the facilities subcommittee, and reviewed the option of being able to go to 2 rooms, a boys' room and a girls' room with multiple toilets and toilet partitions and sinks similar to the bathroom out here or Winters and a bunch of other toilets throughout the district. I will note that there is one section here on the south wing of the first floor. There's a grouping of 4 in the north wing on the first floor, and then on the second floor, there's a grouping of 6 and 6 on the north and south. So we will also, so the architects are going to come up with some schemes and designs to send on to the facilities subcommittee for their review. But they did recommend that they would like to have the group toilets as well as a couple individual unisex bathroom toilets as well, or gender neutral bathrooms. So that is that's the direction that the architects are going to be moving forward with. And
So I'd like to know what this committee thinks, because I think this is it's an important decision.
Anyone have any comments or Ms. Carney?
Subcommittee, I will say that we did have a consensus with a group of stakeholders, teachers, the committee, facilities, principal, and we did feel that there would need to be a combination of the 2 for safety of all of our students, to have a group bathroom as well as a single stall for gender neutral bathroom.
Anyone else want to share their feelings or?
Well, that the rest of the full committee here can hear the work that's been done by the subcommittee, because I do believe that we have some great insights from some of our other committee members. So just glad that we could take the subcommittee to the full committee and flesh out the rest of the details.
Thank you. You're welcome. So next, Jared, you continue to stay up there. ADA bathrooms update.
I'm actually going to turn this one over to Joe.
Oh, okay.
All right, just a quick update on the ADA bathrooms. Just as a reminder, the schools involved in this project are Tolman High, Curtis Elementary, Verrier Elementary, and McCabe Elementary. Construction documents have been uploaded to RIDE, and the request for proposals will be posted in the Providence Journal next week, probably Monday morning. Once we receive bids, will be due on the 17th of July, and we will present them to the facility subcommittee thereafter. Question?
I actually have a question. If we're not gonna get the bids back until July 17th,
No, they'll be due on the 17th, yeah.
so if we're not gonna get them back until the 17th, how is this gonna be a summer project?
So construction is supposed to be beginning in August at this point. It's probably gonna start going into the fall at this point of time. So once the fall comes, we'll have to do a second shift of work as it
Okay.
progresses.
And I think like, the next item we have, the question came up. Is it going to cost more money for these companies to work second and third shift and weekends? Because in this case, will the other bathrooms be affected while we're working on? Because if the students are in school in September, I just want to make sure they have the proper facilities that they'll need. They're elementary students and, some of them are little ones, so we want to make sure that whatever they need is right there when they need it.
I think it's a very fair question and absolutely something to consider and think about. As we progress with this project, that's going to be a pretty critical thing to bring up to the contractor. We'll definitely be making plans when that time of year comes to coordinate with them. As far as to speak on behalf of if that's going to cost more or less or the same, I can't really give you an answer at this point in time.
And I don't want to be negative or anything, but I'm gonna have to for a minute. It just seems like a lot of these projects are supposed to be summer projects and they're not even getting bid out, or we're not getting the bids back until so late that they're going to be disruptive, that they could be disruptive to our students. And I think that's why, and it's not just this project. I know, there's others we talked about in the subcommittee, and I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about the timing and why the timing wasn't organized so that these things, and like I said, Joe, it's not just the ADA bathrooms, people are gonna see, other things going along, but I just think that we really have to get this right. Disruptions to our students just really, at this point, just getting over COVID and, major construction going on in their schools, bathrooms. We really need to have these things done in timely manner.
If I can, I agree entirely. There are a number of projects that were brought to us at a point where when we started going out for architects and design, it was, December or November of the past year, and trying to get those projects wrapped up so that we could have them as summer projects was difficult. I believe the ADA bathrooms from the start was slated as start in summer, get as much of the demo and noisy stuff as you can done out of the way so that you can prep and then bleed into September for second shift work. So the goal of this project was always to do as much as we can in August after the summer schools get out, and then be as least disruptive as possible for the students at second shift work. I will say that we will ensure that these areas, these restrooms, are contained. They are all close to egresses so that we can get easy in, easy out. But our goal is to be as minimally as impactful as possible to the students. So we will ensure that all the work that needs to happen to contain these restrooms gets done before the students get back in.
And Jared, I don't mean to continue to kind of dump on you, but the ADA bathrooms is something I've been a big part of. And I don't recall anyone ever coming to me saying that this is something that's going to go into the fall. Kind of like, some of the other things we discussed. And, you know, I think communication really needs to get better. Because, you know, these are things, like I said, first it was, you know, Baldwin, September 2025, you know, not just me, I think I can speak for others on the committee. People were really shocked about that. And to know that some of these are going into the fall and that we don't even know that if these could cost more. You know, we're trying to get other projects done and budget for them. And it's really difficult for us to budget for them if we're continuously going a second shift, going to weekends. Now we're paying more money. So I firmly believe, and this is my opinion only, I think the communication has to get better because these projects need to get done. So does anyone, Mr. Charbonneau?
Just gonna ask, and I apologize if we've met before, but do we have new members of the Colliers team?
Joe has been with us for a few months now in the Pawtucket office. He's been with Colliers for about a year, and I believe he was here to present the ADA design review bathrooms with the architects when they came last time.
Okay, my apologies.
And I'm sorry if I didn't introduce you outside of the meeting.
And we'll have another person here.
Yeah, so we also have John Chave, who is a new APM. He's helping us out at Baldwin. The team is growing. There was a bit of a transition period, unfortunately, back in January, February, when we lost 2 of our members, so we've been ramping back up.
Right?
Yes, Drew is with us as well.
And he does what?
So he'll be with us for the summer. He's gonna be helping us out on all of our project sites.
Questions? Okay, the next item is Goff Windows update. Gianna.
Good evening one more time. So this is an update regarding the schedule to the school committee. We have this project was scheduled for summer 2023 and summer 2024 into 2 phases. We got a notification from the manufacturer saying that there is a delay in the in manufacturing of the windows. Instead of the delivery of mid-July, it's going to be delivery of mid-August. So for the first phase, starting with the first phase, we're going to get multiple deliveries. With that being said, that leaves us with a small, short period of time during the summer before the school starts. So we have a plan. We've been discussing the plan with the school and staff, with John Cody from facilities. So we are going to start with a number of windows. We notified the school about the exact windows. We are going to get like about 30 windows done within that window of time. We are going to do the rest of as much as we can, the phase 1 windows during the month of September and October after school hours. We need to do some prep work for the after school work by identifying exactly the windows that we will be doing. We need to demo the windows and cover them. So we need to pick spaces that's more likely to be storage. We talked about staircases, so non-learning spaces, because these spaces will be covered for a certain period of time, the openings, I mean.
Questions? Ms. Doobie?
Oh, sorry. So any closing off of staircases, that's going to be run by the fire department, that's going to be run by fire code if we're going to be.
This is windows completely.
But are you talking about you're going to be blocking off the staircase for?
The opening, the window, it's
Just the window.
Just the window part.
Okay.
Nothing.
So the
related-
staircase can still be used.
Nothing related to access or exit or means of egress.
Okay, thank you.
30 windows in that August before school starts timeframe, and the rest of how many windows in phase 1 or how many windows in phase 1 total?
So total project, summer 2023,
No,
summer
just phase
24.
1.
So
Just phase 1.
this is going to be about 135. Which is, we have 270 we have 270 for the overall project, so 50% was going to be done phase one. So we are going to get 30 windows with summer 2023, and we have 200 will be done summer 2024, because we're gonna have all windows in. So that delta number will be done during the month of September and October after school hours.
Right. But, I mean, you could call it the delta number, but we've identified phase one. The windows, the area of the school, this is phase one, this is phase two. If we're gonna do 30 windows in the summertime,
Mhm.
are we confident we can do 135 in 2 months' time?
So we'll be doing overall about 70 between August and October,
Okay, and then we'll stop.
and we'll stop.
Okay, that was my concern,
Mhm.
that we get to a position and the weather turns and we've got open.
We can't do that after
Okay.
that.
And just to clarify, I don't know if I remember. I remember we were gonna do like the sides and then what are we doing first?
Right, so the original plan was to do Newport Ave first, running around the corner, summer 2023,
Mhm.
the rest summer 2024, the
yeah.
back. But the plan was switched.
Mhm.
However, now we will be doing the northwest corner, which is, if you're looking at the U shape of the school, it's gonna be the top right of the U shape.
Procured all the windows already?
We have the order, we have the shop drawings done, we have everything, but in fact, manufacturing itself was delayed. So
Right, but they're making out 270 in one run and they'll ship all of
270.
those to us?
in 5 deliveries, 1 week separate between each delivery, we're gonna start receiving deliveries by mid-August.
Okay, and then they'll hold, once we get those first 70 in, they'll hold the deliveries?
No, we're gonna have everything, all windows for summer 2023 and summer 2024 by fall. Yeah, contractor will be installing it offsite.
Thank you, Gianna.
You're welcome.
The next one is Shay, $10 million bond update. Sharon?
So I don't have too much to update you with, so I'll go relatively quickly with this one. At the last school committee meeting, I updated with all of the aspects of the Shea $10 million bond that we have already done, such as the temporary stage, removing the chairs, the skirt for the stage, and they're working on the minor roof repairs right now. The two aspects that we were going out to architects and engineers for were the complete roof replacement that we're planning for next summer, as well as the stage decking, the structural component of the roof above the stage. And unfortunately, I just got those bids in, but not in enough time to put them on the school committee agenda. So I will have the recommendation to award at the following school committee agenda. And then in addition to that, there were fire safety upgrades. Some of those are including the handrails that are going in over this summer. And the other aspect was emergency lighting and some fire code upgrades, sprinkler upgrades throughout the building. And I also received that proposal, unfortunately too late to get on the agenda. So I have both of those proposals in for review, but I was not able to get them on the agenda, but I will shortly. Both of those are planned to be summer 2024 work.
Mr. Charbonneau?
How much money have we spent at Shed?
In total, we haven't spent it all, but we have contracted about that 700,000 number for the railings and all of that.
No.
Spent?
What have we spent that's in Shay? You said we did the stage, we've done a bunch of things. I think a bunch is the word you, or the phrase you
Yeah,
use.
so I apologize. John, do you know how much the stage cost? I didn't.
Right.
It's minimal.
So 18,000 for the stage, 15,000 for the roof repair. Right? Out of $10 million since last November, that's what we've got at Shay. And the promise of whatever to come. I'm all set.
Anyone else have any?
$35,000 has been expended at Shea High School of the $10 million that was, given to us.
And I would add that 700,000 of it is in process this summer for the Shea railing repairs. So there is encumbered money that is happening ongoing. I don't know what the pay recs and the architect's fees have been paid to date, but there's about 700,000 included in that for summer work. So less than a
10%.
million. Yeah, just under $1 million.
Does anyone else have any more questions? Thank you, Jared. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Nope, she's all set. Next, I think we usually take some of these together, the monthly vendor report, budget transfer reports, overtime reports, work order summary report, venue report, and enrollment suspension. Does anyone have any questions? Ms. Carney?
Just my monthly comment about going over budget on overtime at many of our schools to the point of, at this point, several $1,000s. So I just wanted to say that again, and also looking at the discipline data. I see here that in the key that there's to be 2 columns of in-school suspensions and out-of-school suspensions, and I'm just wondering why there's no indication of any in-school suspensions at the high schools, and then wondering if that is still an option and why they're not exercising an in-school suspension alternative. It can be answered, just, I guess it's more of an observation.
It's one who knows the answer. Ms. Ramsey?
So there is an in-school suspension opportunity at home, and they do utilize it through our information through the State Enrollment Schools Committee. And they open to institute, so they don't have. It's not reported.
Under
Right.
Tolman?
I see that, so I can absolutely look into that and find out how they're recording their in-school suspensions, because it could be another phrase that they're using, so I will see if it could be focused on that they're coding it under, so I will look to that and report out to the superintendent who will share it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Fernandez?
It seems, again, and every time this comes up, we have the same, we say it and then everybody just kind of looks around, but there's double the amount of suspensions at Shea than there are at Tolman. Like, what's going on and how many times do we need to observe this? How many times do we keep having these same observations, and there's a lot of observing and no action, like double.
A report or something letting us know what the situation been. Because my question was actually, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I thought last month the number was 309 and now it's 409. So within a month, 100 students were suspended?
I've also asked, on the record, I've also asked many times for disaggregation of this data. I wanted to know how many students were suspended for the same infraction, different lengths, by race, by socioeconomic background, by special education, by MLL. How many of these students are suspended for 10 days without, notice to the committee or central office, and what is that process? So these are questions that I've been asking for months regarding disaggregated data.
Ramsey, please.
I believe the disaggregated data.
I believe it was like maybe it was March. It was definitely this year. Yeah.
It answered a lot of my questions as well. I would like an opportunity to.
So, with superintendent
Just, Ms. Ramsey, when you reply to her, just remember you need to reply to the whole committee. Okay, all right, okay. And then can we just find out how 100 kids got suspended within 1 month? That would be nice. Does anyone else have any other questions? Mr. Charbonneau? Okay, is everyone good? Okay, so now if I could entertain a moment, a motion for executive session, the school committee, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5, A3, Shea High School security requested by me. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Ms. Carney, seconded by Ms. Bonolo. We are. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Ms. Pinolo, Ms. Carney, Mr. Charbonneau, Ms. Doobie, Ms. Fernandez, Ms. Grant,
Yes.
Mr. Shallow.
Hey, Joanne.
Let's call to order. Let's call to order. Diana, reconvene to open session. I'm sorry. Can you call out the votes if there were any?
We're gonna do a roll call first.
Oh, roll call, I'm sorry.
Ms. Pinolo? Here. Ms. Carney? Mr. Charbonneau? Ms. Doobie? Ms. Fernandez? Ms. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Shallow?
Okay. And could you call out the?
The committee voted unanimously to seal the executive session minutes and to adjourn the executive session.
No.
Reports.
No, okay. All right. So now, if we could, just take a look at my notes here. Now it's time for the superintendent's update. Ms. Mercer.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the class of 2023 at Shea, Tolman, and Jackie Walsh for successful 12, 13 years of their education, and wish them nothing but the best in their future endeavors. In addition to the 2 awards we had tonight, we also had 2 very exciting awards done today. I couldn't present them tonight because they were both a surprise. So, and they both happened at the same exact time today, one at one school, one at the other. The Rhode Island teacher educator of English language learners. The award was presented today to our Lisa Garcia, who is a teacher at Nathaniel Green Elementary School. So it was pretty exciting and it was a secret. So we did give her a certificate, but we went there and gave it today to her. And another exciting thing happened today, that we also had the Golden Apple Award presented to Pat Pezza at Shea High School. Ms. Pezza is a science teacher at Shea. And that one will be broadcasted on June 29th at 6 o'clock if anyone wants to watch it on Channel 10. We'll be in a meeting. All right, we'll record it. So it was a very exciting day all around today in the Pawtucket School Department. We were all over seeing some of our fabulous teachers win these wonderful awards. Good day.
Just that I attended all 3 graduations and they were all great. And congratulations to all of our graduates. We're moving forward, we're making progress, so sometimes slowly, sometimes not. Thank you.
Mr. Charbonneau,
Good night.
Ms. Carney,
Night as well.
Ms. Doobie.
As Ms. Bonello said, I remarked to her at the Tolman graduation that I think attending the graduations is just such a wonderful time, and sitting up there, seeing the students, I think the view that we get, and I know when I looked over and saw Mr. Charbonneau's daughter, the view we get of them before they walk out, as they're standing there and they're adjusting themselves and they're kind of getting ready and they know, and there's a couple who were like practice shaking hands and things. We're gonna do that, but just you get to see this moment right before they walk across the stage. And I think that that's such a unique aspect of being a school committee member, that you get to see that moment, not from the audience perspective. And so graduation season is always such a wonderful time. And I was late today because I was at the band performance, and it was wonderful seeing such a vibrant band program. I know Mr. Bergeron was here as middle school Principal of the Year, awarded by the Rhode Island Music Education Association. And I think that it's wonderful to see middle school band programs throughout our city. It's just a great commitment to the arts. That's it.
Ms. Fernandez.
I have anything, Vicky?
Mr. Shalhoub.
Just want to say congratulations to the class of 2023 from all 3. Congratulations to the proud dad, Mr. Charbonneau, with your graduate at Tolman High School. And good night. Thank you.
I just want to congratulate the Charbonneau family, and I also want to congratulate the Shalhoub family. I know his son graduated from middle school tonight. I also want to say, I am disappointed that we as a district weren't able to help the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative. Hopefully for the students that are coming back to Pawtucket, we're able to work miracles to make things work for them, or either find other placements, because not just some of our kids, but all of our kids deserve to have the proper education. And they were sent to the Northern Collaborative for a reason. So I think by having them come back to our district is an injustice. It's not fair to the teachers or to the other students or to them themselves. But it is what it is, and hopefully we can figure out how to move forward. The other thing I did want to mention, something that I'm very proud of, is there was the ground has been broken over at Kirby McCabe for the new playground. So hopefully we're ahead of schedule, and hopefully by the new school year, the kids will have all of the children will have a nice place to go to during the day, to take sensory breaks, or just to enjoy during recess. And then when they go home at night, maybe grab their siblings and go back and enjoy it. So I think that's something that's really good that's going to be happening. And I know we have a meeting tomorrow night, and I'm really looking forward to getting our district back to consistency and the right people in the right positions and moving forward. So with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion to adjourn by Masha Fernandez and seconded by Mr. Shalal. Good night. Oh, yeah. I didn't say that. All right.